For those of you who have been following me, you know the exciting news that book number 2 is going to be launched, published in February 2017. The book title is Influence Redefined. Be the leader you were meant to be Monday to Monday. Leading up to the book launch, I thought it would be a gift to you by just giving you short video clips like this one weekly that is filled with practical tips, ideas, and recommendations to make sure that your influence and your reputation is one that you're proud of Monday to Monday. It is time. Influence is redefined. Here's what it's not. Influence is not you turn it on and you turn it off. Here's a comparison. Being that we are quickly approaching the new year, how many times have you heard someone in your life, January 1st of every year, say, this is the year. This is the year I am going to get healthy. And then what happens March 31st? Next year. You know, if you've ever tried to get on a workout plan or eat healthy, you cannot do that Monday to Friday and let the weekend go out the window. It doesn't work that way. Influence is the same thing. You have to be all in all the time. So let's redefine it for you. Influence is your body language and your messaging is consistent in all situations, all conversations, all the time, Monday to Monday. Influence means that you have the ability to drive someone to take action long after the interaction occurs. Now, by that definition, you can feel that's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of discipline. So let's give you some thoughts around that. One of the big misperceptions about influence is that we have to be perfect with it. It's not about being perfect. It's about making skill sets, the skill sets that you want to change and enhance to make them permanent. That's where authenticity comes through. This is why part of influence to me is that you are consistent. Your personal brand is consistent Monday to Monday. Consistency equals authenticity. Now I know authenticity, that's a word that's been taken for granted. So I want you to give some thought this week. How about this week you take on this challenge? Why don't you ask for feedback? Now I'm not talking about any feedback that sounds like good, nice job. Feedback that specifically tells you, how do you come across when you are communicating over the phone? How do you come across when you are in a meeting, a hallway conversation, impromptu, or a prepared conversation? Start there. Now, based on the feedback that you give, let's face it, feedback sometimes is the gift you get that you don't want to receive. Know that the feedback is your decision on what you want to take and what you want to apply. The feedback that you do apply, perhaps someone tells you you take too long to get to the point. You tend to ramble. How about for the full week, this week, you put that into practice? Because the more you practice speaking in bullet point sentences, having brevity around your content, those skills, after a while, they become permanent. Challenge number 2, and you're going to hear me talk a lot about this over the next couple of weeks to come. I'm just going to throw this idea out there, and then we'll raise the bar from week to week. If it has been more than 3 months, if ever, that you have ever listened to yourself through the ears of your listeners, how about this week you take on the audio tape challenge? Audio tape yourself randomly throughout the week, 5 times. Now, I'm not saying that you audio record your clients. I am saying something as simple what I will do when I'm on a call with a client. I don't audio record my client. I audio record my side of the conversation. Then you listen to it, and whatever you don't like, that's what you write down. You put a commitment to. You keep practicing it, and suddenly those skill sets, they don't become perfect. It becomes permanent. What you'll learn from these video recordings is that having influence Monday to Monday is a lifelong process. It's not something that you turn on and turn off. It's not something that you watch videos like these and you perfect your influence. You read a book and you perfect your influence. It is about understanding what works for you, what's getting in the way, and preventing your listeners from acting on what you having to say in all situations. It's a constant learning process. Steve Jobs is a perfect example of this. A lot of individuals, when Steve Jobs was with us, everyone said he was born with these skills. He's natural at it. Putting the book together, I did some research on Steve Jobs. And one of his first videos that he ever did, it was an interview. And he begins the interview. He's not even halfway through it. And he stops in the middle of the interview and he says, "I'm getting sick." He was fearful of speaking in front of groups. If you watch Steve Jobs' presentations, that's how we saw him as the public eye. If you watch his presentations throughout his career, you will see a progression of him getting a lot better. I came across an interview on Steve Jobs, and if you're familiar with the TED.com videos, Steve Jobs spoke on the TED.com stage numerous times. And in the interview I came across, Steve Jobs admitted that before he would present on live, the TED.com stage, he would practice for 4 hours. Now, I'm not saying you should practice for 4 hours before every single conversation you give. It's practice these skills every day. Turn on the common sense that every conversation you have moving forward this week, you think about not only what your message sounds like, how it comes across, but you also think about how do you come across? How does your listener experience you, your delivery? Again, recap, your 2 challenges for this week is ask for constructive feedback. Don't accept good, nice job. What's working for you and where are those areas of improvement? Then make a commitment that this week you're going to be focusing on those skill sets. Maybe the messaging needs to be more clear. Challenge number 2, how about for 1 week until I see you next week? You audio record yourself 5 times. This can be with friends, with family, with coworkers. Obviously, don't do anything without them knowing. We have the technology these days. It's easy to record ourselves on our iPhone, our iPad. Take on those challenges, see where you are in a week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for being with me.